All right, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are in the world. Today, we're gonna take a look at Georgetown University. Now, Georgetown University is in Washington D.C., which is the nation's capital. Very prestigious college. Great programs. A little bit pricey, but they do offer a lot of aid. And they're world recognized. Actually, Georgetown has several campuses, and I think they even might have a campus in Doha, Qatar. I think they do. Well, at least they used to. All right, so let's take a look at this real quick. All right, now I'm going to take a look at the rankings here. Now there's a website that I go to called usnews.com. Now with usnews.com, you can go there and look at the rankings of all the schools that you're interested in. Now remember I mentioned before, rankings don't exactly mean everything, but they do give you maybe a little bit of an idea of where your school is. All right. So if we look at if we look at the rankings here, we see that Georgetown is ranked number 22 of national universities in America. Definitely not bad if you think of the over 4,000 universities in America. Being number 22 is rather prestigious. All right. And another thing I did mention to tell you that a lot of the big name universities, which are ranked pretty high, they're pretty much like East Coast heading back east. As everybody says, go back east to go to school. All right. Beautiful campus. Been there plenty of times. I used to go there sometimes to study. Let's look at some things here that could help us out at a glance. All right. So they have an acceptance rate of 12%. That's not very high. Acceptance rate of 12%. Undergrad enrollment, 7,598 students. Let's say about 7,600 students. Tuition and fees, looking at $62,000 for tuition and fees. All right. Now, not to mention you have to factor in room and board, where you're going to stay and food and things like that. All right. Georgetown is a fairly urban campus. It's secluded, but it's urban campus. It's around a lot of, it's in Washington D.C. There's a lot of things there. There's a lot of public transportation is pretty easy. They have great sports teams and have great faculty and staff. All right. If you look at where we go here, we're going to take a look at some of the academics they have. And for example, they say they have a lot of, now one thing they don't have online bachelor degrees programs. Some schools do have an online component and they don't. Now they offer certificates, bachelor's, post-bachelor certificate, master's, post-master certificate, doctorate, professional practice, doctorate, research scholarship. Now another thing is just to let you know, for if you're coming from some of the Middle East or the Arab countries, Georgetown's Arabic program is very good. They have an Arabic program, I think Arabic and Islamic Studies program. It's one of the best in America. They have from the bachelor's level to master's and even PhDs. And their Arabic library is rather impressive. Also, Georgetown is known for Georgetown Law and their international studies, the international studies program. All right. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go on their website and we're going to look and see what it looks like for somebody who wants to apply. So if you look here, Georgetown's website is very nice. They put a lot of money making it look good. First, you're going to see news and events and giving, alumni. I guess more info for students there. Academic life. Now, what we want to do, we want to go to admissions and aid. Okay, and we're going to look at undergraduate admissions. So, hold on a second. Doesn't seem to be opening here. So, what it will do is take a minute for this to load up here. So generally on the undergraduate admissions section, it's going to it's going to go into the application. So when you're looking at the majority of these schools, most of the applications are done online. Okay, they are done online, and they do have paper applications. But with you being international students, paper applications are just not. It's really just not feasible. But you can do it online. Now, remember before I mentioned to you about the common application. The common application, and we're going to go to that real quick. The common application is an application which is used for students who want to apply to schools in America. So the Common App is one app that is used to maybe apply to maybe over like 1,000 schools. Not exactly sure. Let me go to it. So here we go. So the Common Application here, this is for one application that you can use for probably about 1,033 schools as of now. Georgetown isn't one of these schools, so you'll have to fill out a separate application. But what the Common App does is that you could fill out an application for any of these schools, and then you just hit click to submit, and you don't have to keep doing all these applications again. Some of these schools have fees, some don't. They do offer some waivers for students that can't afford it. I would definitely contact the college if that's an issue, and you would be surprised of the results that you get if you contact the school and you tell them like, hey, listen, you send them a letter saying I can't afford the fees, and they'll waive the fees. I mean, I've seen it happen to plenty of schools, maybe $50 admissions, and you let them know that maybe you can't afford it, and 9 out of 10 they'll waive the fees for you. And I've done it several times for myself. No questions asked. So, you never know unless you ask. All right. And those $50 and $30 fees can add up. All right. So we look at Georgetown here. We see we're going here back to admissions and aid. And it says, it tells you a little bit about what they'll do. And Georgetown is known to give out quite a bit of aid. But you do have to understand that when you're talking about a school with that has a $62,000 bill, that's just the tuition and not room and board yet, that even aid of $30,000 or $40,000 a year is still a lot. Now, what we try to do is that we try to aim, try to put you in directions where you can get full scholarships. And one thing I noticed is that the average GPA of people going into Georgetown University is like a 4.01 or something like that. So this is the upper the upper level students in America. If I'm not mistaken, I think they might have like a 92% graduation rate, something like that. But they're very, very high. All right. Hold on a second. The good thing is, if you see here, they say 100% of undergraduate need met with financial assistance. And remember, I did tell you the difference between loans and grants, and we want to look more towards grants and scholarships. We really don't want to bombard ourselves with these student loans, which really kind of jam me up. So when they say aid kind of covers everything, but we're always going to try to look for ways that we pay the less amount of money out of our pocket as we can. All right, now we'll look over here and we see the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. Now, to apply, remember I mentioned before, they have 4 levels here. And great, they have first year, transfer, visiting student, and international student. All right, let's look at some of what they need for international applicants. All right, now most colleges, you'll find out they'll have a section for international applicants, and they'll give you like a little bit more information that you would need. So in the international applicant section, we're not going to get into everything, but we'll show you here the application procedure, test requirements. It even goes into financial aid for international students, communicating with us, visa information, and even undocumented students. And undocumented students are students that do not have paperwork. They're not legally here in America. I'd be curious to see what they say about that. So basically, for international students, you follow the same procedure. Okay, very good. So you go to the first year application webpage. So remember when we looked up before, it had a spot where you could click on first year application, and you could apply online or download the Georgetown application. I personally recommend everybody to do it online. Do not think you're going to mail it in. Georgetown University requires submission of SAT and or ACT scores as part of your application process. I know that at one time they did have what we call test optional, but I'm not sure if they have it anymore. You put here they have your SAT code, what it is here, your ACT code. They have different the subject tests which you have to take. So if we go down a bit lower, okay, here we go. So Georgetown recommends but does not require results from the English language proficiency test for students who attend a school where English is not the language of instruction. So they recommend, but they don't require. Some schools actually require this English proficiency test, such as IELTS and TOEFL, but it seems like they don't. Personally, I think that if you're going to be studying at a high-level university like that, as well as others, you might as well make sure you take the TOEFL or IELTS, whatever works for you. I know in America, a lot of times it's really, TOEFL's kind of like the standard. At least it used to be. So, of course, some things did change since the pandemic because, they had to make like a little bit of adjustments here, but it seemed like they're back on schedule. Now, let's look at financial aid. Georgetown University is a need blind for all applicants. So it says that admitted students who have requested financial aid and are not U.S. citizens or permanent residents will be considered for a very limited number of need-based scholarships. So once again, we're coming here again. It's saying that basically they're telling you that international students are not going to get, there's not as many opportunities to get aid as there are American students. But they do have quite a number of scholarships. To be considered for one of these scholarships, a student applicant will need to indicate their intent to apply for financial aid on the application for Georgetown mission and should submit a financial aid profile. All right. And you can find that at the Office of Student Financial Services website. If you're in a situation where your daddy has a lot of money and he's going to pay for everything, then hey, more power to you. But most people are going to need some sort of aid or want it. And why leave money on the table? All right. Contact is via email because of time differences. I mean, if you're 10 hours behind, then it's going to be kind of hard for you to catch up with a counselor. And this is and these are other areas here. Let's see. Oh, and they also have different directors for different areas. So, which is pretty good. A lot of large universities have that. So, for example, if you're in Latin America, Bahamas, Bermuda, and the Caribbean, you would have to. They have their own director of admissions. Africa, Canada, Europe, Middle East, Central South Asia has another one, and then Australia, East Southeast Asia, and the Pacific region has another one. So they have three assistant directors that deal with these. All right. Another thing as well that Georgetown does have an overseas study abroad program, which is good. So even as an international student, you could maybe study somewhere else once you're there. And Georgetown has agreements with other campuses. Visa information. I mean, you'd have to talk to them about that. Dealing with the F1 or J1 status at Georgetown must indicate the requested status on the confirmation of the enrollment form. And your counselor at school could help walk you through that. All right. Part I was looking for undocumented students. They welcome applicants for interested students across the country and the world. And that, regardless of country of citizenship, immigration status, where the student resides or attends high school. Please note that all information provided on the application is confidential. Therefore, undocumented students should feel comfortable providing as much information as possible on the application forms, i.e., they're not going to go to immigration and report you. But, that's another thing. All right. Now, I'm not saying you should hop the fence and come apply, but just to let you know that if you're already here and you're in America or you're planning on getting to America, then this is an issue. Admission process is need blind, which means applying for financial aid is not a factor. All right. And this policy applies to all applicants: U.S. citizens, permanent residents, foreign citizens, undocumented students. Although federal financial aid is not available for undocumented students, you may qualify for need-based scholarship directly from Georgetown. All right. So you can get aid from outside sources and aid directly from Georgetown. All right. Then they also have other areas that you can go into, and Georgetown is a very diverse university. A lot of students from all over the world, over 100 countries. So this is pretty good. Now, like I mentioned before, when you do go to these accounts, you do generally when you do go to these websites, you generally have to make an account, and you submit everything. And I'm not exactly sure how much it is for the application. Let me check. First year. Now, the good thing is, we mentioned before, on most of your websites, they're going to have information specifically for international students. So we need to make sure you're that you're reading into that. All right. Let's look here, the Georgetown application. So once you submit it, you'll receive a decision. Not a decision. You'll receive information that you received within 24 hours. Now, we talked a lot before about early admission. Okay. So Georgetown's early admission is November 1st of that year, and regular decision is January 10th. All right. So remember, we mentioned what early admission is, that if they admit you and you say yes, you got to pull all your applications out. All right. All your applications out. All right. Now, they have on their site deadlines, checklists, and everything here. When it's for early action, regular decision, results date. So even tell you like when you can expect to hear if you got accepted or not. Big thing here, application fee. Notice that our application fee here is $75. All right, that is not cheap. $75. Like I said, if you're planning on applying to a big name university like Georgetown and you're not pressed for cash, $75 doesn't seem a lot. I'm sure you could always contact the office, the registration office, and ask if they have any grants to cover that fee. And that's something that I definitely would not leave off the table. I always ask, because you never know what fee money is available for you. Don't have to be proud not to ask, but if you don't ask, you're not going to eat. So definitely you want to go, check them out on that. All right. So Georgetown University, great university. I mean, I personally love it. It's near my hometown. Great campus, great people, and a great city. And a lot of prestigious alumni are now in the world doing good things. But like I said, very diverse, very welcoming. Now, another thing is, remember that Georgetown University is what we call a private university. And remember, we talked about the difference between private and public. Public is partially like, let's say, the state schools or the government schools ever. It's as in private, or privately owned. All right. Now, remember, even though private schools are generally more than these public schools, some of the more wealthy private schools have wealthy donors, and sometimes that equates to more scholarships. All right. Equates to more scholarships. So if you're strong academically, you may go to a school like Georgetown and then maybe look at a school like maybe University of Maryland, which is the public school, and you may actually get more aid at Georgetown than you do from University of Maryland, for example. All right. So don't let the price tag fool you. There is money out there, but as mentioned before, for international students, it seems like it's a bit lower. All right. So these is also Another site you always want to make sure you have is the Common App. Now, remember, with the Common App gives information for a lot of schools, but however, Georgetown University isn't one of the schools on the Common App, so you'd have to apply for that directly. Now, let's say if your school was on the Common App, all you'd have to do is just click the button what school you want to apply for, and it goes in. All right. You definitely have to go there. You'd have to make an account, create an account, and use your email and info, and then you could pretty much go through the Common App and submit anything you need through there. All right. But some of those bigger, more prestigious schools, they're not all using the Common App. All right. All right. So also, this site here is very good. Mention U.S. News. That kind of gives a good rundown of it. They also have like a paid subscription, but I don't think you really need that. And it goes into a lot of stuff here, even like with the student body, and class rankings and stuff. It has just a lot of different things. And what I do like about USS News, that it does also compare it to other schools. Other schools in the area are similar, so that's definitely a good thing. All right, so thanks for tuning in. What we're gonna do, we're gonna try to do this at least once a week. We're gonna try to go through and look at some of these schools and look at some of the rankings and see how it's good for you and if it's a place you want to go. If you're in the Washington D.C. area, you definitely want to make sure you're going to come visit the school and all the other schools in the area. That's the Washington D.C. area. You're looking at Washington D.C., Northern Virginia, and Maryland, parts of Southern Maryland and around. So that's the D.C. area, and you could go through there and see. You could look at a lot of schools in the area if you come to visit. So get on a plane, come through, check it out. Contact the good people at Georgetown. They'd be happy to talk to you, and they could even give you a little bit of advice on financial things like that. And in your country, depending on who it is, maybe if you come from a country where the president loves you, money might not be an issue. So